Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're going to talk about the Skill Builder Challenge we just had on the Discord. For anyone who's not already familiar, we have a Discord server for our customers, and one of the things we do on the Discord server is periodically host a Skill Builder Challenge. Skill Builder Challenge is basically just an informal contest, and we pick some sort of theme, but the main rules are that we're trying to encourage people to try something new. A new skill, use a new tool, whatever that happens to be, and expand their skill set and go out on a limb and try something that they haven't done before. So this week's video, we're going to talk about the entries we had, or just a few of them, some of the top contenders, and a little bit of critique because some people were asking for them. For this Skill Builder Challenge, the winners were decided by vote on the Discord server itself, so I had no part in choosing which ones were the top entries. There were some great entries all around, and ultimately anybody who enters a contest like this trying to improve their skills and try something new is a winner in my book, because they're expanding their skills, they're trying something, and that's big. Getting the courage to do something new is I think very valuable, and something that everybody should strive to, add a new skill, try something new in their building every now and then. So we'll get right into it. We had two categories, a beginner and advanced. The main difference between the two categories for this one was whether or not you self-categorized for the most part. But if you had won a contest before, maybe a past skill builder or another online contest, you were required to go into the advanced category. The theme this year, or not this year, but this time around, was more DACA. So the idea is that you're going to add more guns, weapons, etc., and arm up whatever kit you're working on. And so first entry that we're going to talk about is from Salo170172 on the Discord, titled Just Keep Shooting. So it looks like a Fusion rebake, although I'm not super familiar with a lot of the IBO designs. It's got a big gun, a shield, almost reminiscent of the scene from 8th MS Team, but clearly not 8th MS Team in terms of the suit. His new skill was to do a diorama. There's a nice diorama based on this, and do some dry brushing, and overall it's an incredible build. My only feedback as someone who's posted online and stuff like that, and seeing lots of contest entries, is the lighting for the pictures maybe could be a little better for some of them. For any sort of online contest that requires pictures, lighting and how you photograph it is so important, because you could have the best build in the world and it could be photographed with a cheap disposable camera from the early 2000s, and it's not going to look as good as if it's done with even a relatively modern smartphone and good lighting. But excellent work on that build. Okay, next up, this actually was the third place entry for the beginner category from Nimrod on the Discord. Description: the Warren Sentinel. It looks like he did a lot of rust weathering effects. His new skill was weathering, so that kind of makes sense. And it's very reminiscent of maybe an overly armed heavy arms with multiple Gatling guns, some missiles, it looks like some other weapons too. Very, very nicely done. It does have a very heavy weathered effect to it, which is, not a bad thing necessarily, but it definitely gets the job done. Great job, Nimrod. The only feedback I would probably have on this is maybe tone down the weathering, unless you're really going for that like completely lost, completely destroyed, hasn't been used in decades kind of look. But overall, great job. Okay, our second place winner for the beginner category was from Fenderbender541. I'm not going to read this description because it's pretty long. There's a lot of stuff that went into this, but it's basically a petite guy or bear guy, armed to the teeth, tons of effect parts and LEDs, which is really cool. The skill: joint tightening, LEDs, painting, custom built in general, that counts, drilling holes. So lots of new stuff on this. Some of these pictures are pretty cool, especially the darker ones, because of the LEDs and effect parts that were used. It really has that dynamic weapons and whatever in action energy fields and the like. Very, very cool. Yeah, I don't think I have too much to say in terms of feedback. Maybe, I don't know that effect parts do well if this were depending on the contest, because they're not necessarily super realistic depending on how they're done. So maybe looking at applying some shading effects on those themselves to improve that realism. But overall, really great job. And I guess maybe considering LED placement to make it better lit when it's dark. It looked really cool with the effect parts kind of lighting things up. But maybe if those effect parts or the LEDs were positioned such that you got a little bit more lighting onto the whole thing instead of having the whole build hid when it was dark, it might kind of improve the look of that. But again, great job on that. Okay, last up for the beginner category, we have Poor Boy on the Discord, and this is a Gustav Karl that was heavily armed. First time painting and kit bashing was the skill, and I'm kind of a sucker for big chunky suits sometimes, especially the Gustav Karl. I've got one that I've got plans to paint in my, sitting on my desk actually. It's already been snap built. It's like he took the Gatling guns from maybe one of the unicorn, full armor unicorn variants maybe, and missile pods look like they belong on the Eagle heavy arms. And overall, I mean, it looks great. I like the stance and the armament. I think it really embodies what we were going for with the contest. Like a bunch of thrusters and propellant tanks in the back, which is cool too. It really has that like full armor, overly armed kind of look to it, and overall great job. Finding anything to really critique and criticize as things that could be better, really kind of hard. There's not much that I can tell from the pictures, so if there are things, they're probably hidden. There's a few spots that it's hard to tell that could be maybe nub marks popping out here or there, but there's really not a lot. It's an excellent build, really, so not much in the way of criticism that I can give on that one. So let's move on to the advanced category. The first one we have in the advanced category is from the Big Goob, Hyborian Gundam, Arctic Heavy Assault Gundam. New skills, light weathering using pastel chalks and finger brush technique. I'm not really sure what finger brush technique is. Maybe it's a special type of brush or something. But it looks very reminiscent of the head's got the Delta or Hyakushiki kind of look to it. It's got Gatling guns, which is cool, and kind of a heavy arms look in the chest too. It looks almost like it might have the chest and shoulders from the HG heavy arms. Some cool missile units, whatever you want to call them, on the shoulders, and I really like how they're kind of randomly loaded as if some have been fired maybe. It would actually look really cool if some were partially out, as if they were starting to fire off maybe at various intervals. And some weathering in there too. But overall, a very nice build. So excellent work. Next up, the second place entry from the advanced category from infamous Mr. Gates. He took the large rifle from the MG Gunner Zaku and added to the RG New Gundam while adding attachments for the fin funnels to be equipped. So new skill, kit bash augmentation, however you want to interpret that. But it looks like they basically took the backpack and rifle from the Gunner Zaku Warrior and modified it to be able to support the fin funnels that are normally on the New Gundam, and gets kind of that goal of having more DACA. Big gun is always cool, and the RG New is a nice kit as well. And putting that large gun from a larger scale kit gets a very nice effect as well. In terms of any sort of critique, yeah, I really can't find a whole lot to critique on this one. I think we got one more, and the last one, the first place winner for the advanced category was from Zaku. So this one was a Gym Sniper 2. The new skill was weathering, kit bashing, and parts modification, and there's a lot of detail in this. It looks like it's got an upgraded rifle as well as this shoulder-mounted cannon of some sort, and really a lot of details on the shoulder added as well. This is a very detail-heavy build, which is awesome. I really like how it came out. Lots of, looks like added part separation, added detail parts, probably some plow plating in there as well. It's hard to tell exactly how it was done. Yeah, so at any rate, it just absolutely incredible build, lots of detail. The only thing I can see, there's a few places like in the ankles, for example, where it looks like there's some exposed pistons that would be amazing if there were more color separated in there because of the, being kind of exposed mechanical bits having some other color in there might add a little bit more contrast and detail, but take that from for what it's worth, because I think this build is well beyond my skill level in terms of what's been done to it. The weathering looks fantastic, and it's just overall outstanding. So I think that's all I really have for feedback on that one. So at any rate, those were the entries for the Skill Builder Challenge. Hopefully you enjoyed this. You like seeing some of these builds. If you've got comments of your own, maybe you've been a competitive builder and you've got constructive feedback for any of these guys, I'm sure that they'd love to hear how they can improve, and definitely give these guys some props for going out there and trying something new. Thank you for watching. See you next time.